Good day everyone, how are you all doing? This is the XRP Crypto and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at the correction that seems to be happening right now, the long awaited correction. Now, many people, including myself, tried to call this, but at the end of the day, it corrected when the hell it wanted to, and it seems to be going on right now. So let's get into it and what could be the reasons as to why it is correcting, or is there any reason? Let's not waste any time, let's get straight into it. So I'm looking at the total market cap here, and as I said, the long awaited correction is beginning. Now we have not quite hit the depths as expected, which is potentially around 30%, give or take, but so far we are down 10%. And so the highest point we got to was around 595 billion dollars for the entire crypto market. And at the moment we've gone down to about 470 billion. So that's a decrease of about 120 billion, which is obviously, you know, it's insane, to be quite honest with you, within a few hours to lose that much value. But this is the crypto market. It's still a young, immature market, still growing, and so these swings are you know, quite understandable at the same time. Let's go into the altcoin market. Now, as mentioned previously, we broke out of this pattern and exploded to the upside. But now you can see this massive wick, right? So this happened during the week. This massive wick indicates a lot of selling pressure. It pushed it all the way down to below 192 billion, which was marked out previously. As you can see, there was resistance at this point. It rejected. But you can see this massive amount of selling pressure, which is not a good sign. This is definitely going to push it a bit further down, I believe. Let's see how it closes for the week. If it closes like this, it's quite a bearish indicator. And even for, if you look at the total market cap, including the altcoins, you can also see there's a lot of selling pressure at these levels of around 600 billion. It's not quite as bad as the altcoin market, but the altcoin market obviously is a lot more volatile. It's a lot more risky. So you're gonna see a lot more larger swings than that. This is including Bitcoin. But you can see there's a lot of selling pressure. So if we close like this for the week, we're probably gonna end up going further down towards the next level of support. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance for the last few weeks has been turning around. After the 9th of November, we had essentially quite a clear turnaround. Got rejected from this level of around 65%. And you've had this massive wick at this point. This indicates, obviously this is not a normal chart where you're buying and selling, but to have a lot of buying pressure or a lot of dominance turning around these levels indicates that Bitcoin is going to start seeing more dominance in the market. So we could turn around and start to gain more market share. And this does tend to happen when when we're correcting, when we're going downwards, because Bitcoin is the safest asset in the market, so people tend to run towards safety during times of uncertainty. So we're probably going to see Bitcoin gain more dominance as time goes on. Let's look at Bitcoin on its own. So we've rejected obviously from 19,500. We are so close to reaching all-time highs. Although, I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because we will break past it, but we were so close. And that's often when you get close to these key numbers, that's when people start to get nervous and they start to sell quickly. That seems to be what's happened now. So we've finally had a red candle after so long, since the 5th of November, the first red candle. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what we need. You need this in a healthy market. You can't just keep going up in a parabolic fashion and expect to just keep going up. So this is definitely expected and needed. It needs to consolidate all these gains. And now the question comes, if we continue on the correction, where will we find support? My guess would be either at 13,800, as you can see, one massive wick over here, and also some support over here. However, we could end up going down to 12.5 or even 11.5, because apart from this area over here, there's a little bit of action. The next major level is around 11,500, and a lot of wicks have gone to 12,500. So I think if 13.8 doesn't become support, then I think we will break down to those levels. I don't think we'll go further than that. If we do, then I would become quite bearish for the short / medium term if we go below 11.5. But I think that's those levels for me are my targets. Let's move over to XRP, who has taken the limelight for a little while, or even just a week or two. Exploded from 25 cents all the way to 79 cents. Insane. And now you see a lot of selling pressure, that massive wick. This was expected as well. As I mentioned, XRP likes to behave in burst, and then it just goes to sleep for another excuse me, for another 5 years. So we could very well go back to 25 cents, 34 cents, 30 cents, or even 45 cents. It's very hard to predict with XRP. So the best thing is just to observe and see where it ends up. But then even when it finds supports, let's say at 45 cents, it may just break down over time and go all the way back down. But with XRP, you want to have your chips in early and then let it do its thing. Wait, it's a long-term play. XRP is probably the longest term. It will give you its rewards after a long time as well. So with XRP, it's very hard to tell. It could easily find support again at any level, relax for a little bit, and then explode again to all-time highs within a moment's notice. That's probably unlikely, but with XRP, it's just very unpredictable is what I'm trying to say. Let's move over to Ethereum. Again, Ethereum, like the rest, is correcting. Clearly there's a lot of selling pressure around 620, and we were not able to close. So if we close for below this level, clearly this resistance level of 572 is quite valid. So the next question would be, where are we going to find support? You can see that this wick over here, obviously, it's managed to find some support here. Also, there was a resistance level at this point. But my guess would be probably we'll find support at this resistance level at 434. You can see that it was able to find support over here before, so potentially this could be the case again. And that in total would be around a 30% correction, which is what I would expect, especially for the run that we've had. 30% correction. A 30% correction is what is expected. If we break below that, I would expect again, as you can see, these levels marked 353 to be the next level of support. I'm still very bullish on most of these cryptos, by the way, but this is the correction, so we got to go through this. Moving over to Link. Now Link, it's funny because I did a video on Link, or including Link, last week or earlier this week, and I did mention this looked like a bearish chart pattern, like a rising wedge, and it closed way above this, and I thought, okay, this chart pattern is obviously incorrect, invalidated. But now you've got this absolutely massive red candle and a massive wick all the way down to $10.80. So let's see if we close for this week. This chart pattern may actually still be valid, and it may end up going back to the bottom that formed at $9.30. That's where I'll be looking at. It did find a lot of buy orders clearly at this level, so it may end up staying above this level of support at around $11. We'll have to see for this week. Basically, this candle this week end of week candle closure will be very important for most of the cryptocurrencies in this market, to see how far we're going to correct. Because if it closes below this, then it's obviously a clear sign that we're going to go to the downside and potentially revisit that bottom. Yeah, we'll have to see. We will have to see, and this chart pattern may still be valid. Litecoin. One of my members in the private Telegram group actually asked me about Litecoin yesterday, funny enough, and in terms of what I think Litecoin is going to do going forward. And I highlight this key level over here, which had a lot of selling pressure. You can see this wick hit this key level, rejected, and then went through, and then now it's hit that key level again. So I said that there's a lot of selling pressure here, that it may just get knocked all the way back down to about $67 at least, and potentially further, because there's a lot of selling pressure here, and now that seems to be what has happened. It might end up going, as I said, back to about $67 at least. There is some support there, and it may go all the way down to $54. It's very, very possible. So that's what I think about Litecoin. Also, looking at the crypto ratios, you can see all the crypto ratios are being destroyed. They're losing a lot of value against Ethereum. Completely understandable, because there are a lot of DeFi coins and they're a lot more volatile, and because of their market cap being a lot smaller, and them being a lot more riskier, they're the ones that are going to lose a lot of value. People are going to sell their coins and move over to something like Bitcoin, which is a lot more safer. So again, to go over, Bitcoin will start to gain more dominance as this is an uncertain time. But also, I want to mention in terms of time scales as well. This correction could take a month, could take 2 months, maybe a little bit more. I think up to 2 months is where I think the correction will be. December, it looks like it's going to be a red month. Looking at the monthly time frame quickly. If you look at this time frame, you can see there's 2 months of green, 1 red, 2 green, 1 red. I don't know if this is a pattern, but next month is clearly going to be red, and going into January we might start seeing some green again. This could be the case. So let's see how that goes. This little pattern. I just want to look at this article quickly in terms of the reasons as to why Bitcoin is losing a lot of value. OKEX, I don't know if it's pronounced OKEX or OKEX. OKEX resumes withdrawals. Chinese traders can realize mining profits. Obviously FUD, everything's FUD related, but potentially harmful regulations coming from Trump's administration. Rally had seen no major correction so far. The all-time high around 20,000 is strong technical and psychological resistance. Increased inflows to exchanges indicating stronger selling pressure. And overextended fear and greed index, traditionally a bear signal. I think most of the FUD signals are just rationales trying to explain why this is happening, but the main one, in my opinion, is that we have not seen a major correction so far. And what tends to happen, this is valid as well, I think what tends to happen, because this is driven by human emotion, these markets, fear, greed, as it said, are human emotions that drive the market. And the longer price continues to go up, the more, and I've said this before, you need to engage your own emotions to understand what's going to happen in the market. Because the longer price goes up, the more, greed people feel. But at the same time, you start to become more fearful that this is not going to go on forever. And so the overextension of price leads to you feeling a lot more fearful, and so you end up having your finger over the trigger at all times. So when the whole market starts to feel like this, and all you need is one little trigger, like a little catalyst, and then people will start hitting the red and selling ASAP. And that's in my opinion, all these articles are just rationales for the basics of human emotions, that the longer this price starts to go up, the more fear you start to feel, and so the greed runs out, and people will have their finger over the trigger and want to sell. You know, any little catalyst will turn the whole market fearful, and the blood will start to run in the streets. And we've had 2 months of green action. People were on edge for the whole time, you know, like, when is this going to start correcting? And so obviously one little catalyst, maybe it was a whale who just, you know, did a massive dump on an exchange, and that was the catalyst. Probably I'd say that was the catalyst, but that's essentially what has happened. So you need to engage your own emotions, and it's as simple as that, in my opinion. All these news articles are just rationales trying to explain, you know, Chinese traders and that. No, that's all rubbish. It's just human emotion, fear and greed. That's all you need to know. So that'll be all for this video. I hope you got some value from that, and see you in the next video. Peace.